Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anti-Life Reviews. It is I, the Tony Mackay, Master of Minds and Men. This is episode 63 of this respective show. Of course, I have my movies and TV show as well on this channel, Mackay World Reviews, so check that out. But today we're going to be looking at a Teen Titans classic. You may say the Teen Titans classic, entitled The Judas Contract, which is covered in Tales of the Teen Titans Volume 1, 42 to 44, and Tales of the Teen Titans Annual Volume 1, Number 3, which ran from May 1984 to July 1984. I will also briefly be covering New Teen Titans 39 and 40 and Tales of the Teen Titans 41, just for some quick backstory. But let's get to this tale that helped define these pint-sized heroes through the ages. Before we begin, it's my goal to continue to improve this channel. It looks like I have, thanks to you folks. I think I'm moving in the right direction. Sounds something I did entertaining. Please hit that subscribe button, and thank you. Writers and artists on this. The writer is Marv Wolfman, a legend in comics, especially as far as the Teen Titans go, having created Cyborg, Raven, Starfire, Tim Drake, and Deathstroke. I mean, he's essentially responsible for anyone who knows them from the cartoons. He's the Teen Titans guy. He's also responsible for creating Blade, Nova, and Bullseye, as well as writing the first Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as legendary runs on comics like Action Comics, Adventure Comics, House of Mystery and Secrets, as well as pretty much some of every iteration of the Teen Titans. And on art, as well as a little bit of writing. He put the input, hit some writing input. George Perez worked with Marv later on the aforementioned Crisis on Infinite Earths. He really was an astonishing artist with his work on Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, Avengers, Fantastic Four, and a lot more. Has gotten worse as the years go on, but that's to be expected. But in his heyday, he was nigh untouchable. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the Teen Titans from the various cartoons and whatnot. It's quite literally a collection of teen superheroes, often led by Robin, Dick Grayson, but not always Richard is in charge. This version, however, he is. So let's get to it. I'm going to go ahead and summarize the events of New Teen Titans 39 and 40 and Tales of the Teen Titans 41. So the team for this is Robin, Cyborg, Starfire, Changeling. You may know him as Beast Boy, Wonder Girl, and Raven. Kid Flash will be here for one issue. Spoilers, I guess. So the main plot of these issues are the Teen Titans dealing with Brother Blood, his cult, and the small country he runs. The two big subplots revolve around Tara and her allegiances, and Dick Grayson leaving the Titans. He is Robin. So I'll run through the subplots quickly before talking about the main narrative. Tara's story. Tara is the newest Teen Titan, but Changeling has some suspicions about her, as does Raven. See that she actually is a mole for Slade Wilson, also known as Deathstroke the Terminator, whatever you want to call him. She is wired at all times, watching the Titans for him, and the personality shift is night and day. The Titans, she's a sort of Brooklyn-sounding wisecracker with a heart of gold, like a prostitute on Law and Order. Meanwhile, when she's with Deathstroke, she's a high-class prostitute, dressed in finery, chain-smoking, bad attitude. She reminds me of a mafia wife. There's a strange romance there. They have a grooming kind of bond that I'll get into later. The foreplay is fighting each other to almost death, her powers to control the earth versus his just genuine strategy and military mind, and he comes out on top every time. I'm sure metaphorically as well as physically. Her romance with Deathstroke, where she shows disdain for the Titans versus her growing loyalty, camaraderie, and caring about them, is generally the best parts of these early issues and really expertly crafted by Mr. Wolfman. I like to point out that at one point she calls Starfire Balloon Bod, and I love that because God Starfire looks like the tackiest bikini model this side of the 80s. She's literally wearing high heels and a bikini with giant teased hair. She fits more in vein with Married with Children than this. I know it's by design and part of her character. It just cracks me up. Also, the fact that she has no pupils, I don't know. It's just so fetishistic. It's whatever. Robin's story. Robin leaves the Titans, sick of being dressed like an idiot. He's literally still wearing a green leotard. There's a weird part where he hands over the red part of his costume with the Robin logo, like someone else is going to take up the mantle, and leaves in his green leotard and booties. We don't see this, but then he becomes part of Brother Blood's cult, which we will see the resolution to soon. Kid Flash, Wally West also quits, but no one seems to give two shits about him. The most uninteresting part of these issues is the Brother Blood part, so I'll go over that quickly. Brother Blood is a bad guy who looks like Chris Canyon's Mortis character in WCW, but palette swapped, like when you pick him twice in a game. He's clearly a bad guy, so of course he runs a country, and the Titans have a TV debate on the morality of being an evil cult leader. And there's some kind of they try to make it like he may have a point, but it doesn't work. It doesn't land. He looks like Skeletor, and his name is Brother Blood. I don't need a lot of subtlety and nuance with this character. They say something about a spell he puts people under, but it still takes up a lot of time of them waxing philosophically on the nature of evil. Beyond that, Titans in the USA invade his evil cult country. Titans are captured. They see Robin has been brainwashed, and somehow that's not explained. Titans get free. Blood has surplus Russian tanks and robots. Titans are recaptured. Robin breaks free of being evil. Titans are freed again, and Blood is seemingly killed off thanks to the good old USA. Yeah, it's pretty bog standard stuff. Tara helped the team and debated on her own nature. Got it. First off, the art is astounding and will be the whole way through. George Perez is a damn treasure and just has a great understanding of the complexities of every character. His panel layout, I'm such a panel layout whore, and his get me rock hard. I have to say, an expert use of panels, a great artist that really captured the kinetic feel of fights, and his static poses make you understand each character you're seeing. Beyond that, the writing is solid enough. It waxes from great in the Terror stuff to standard comic stuff with brotherly blood, but the variety is nice and sets up the rest of this nicely. Tales of the Teen Titans, Volume 1, Issue 42. This one is really about the relationship between the Titans and how tenuous those bonds are. But let me tell you, it's done exceptionally well for the most part. We see Robin and Starfire's relationship, which seems fine, as well as Wonder Girl and her fiancé. She asks Tara to be one of her bridesmaids, much to Tara's surprise. We see Cyborg and his girlfriend, maybe, and they're helping teach some disabled kids how to skate on ice. Cyborg can't skate. Is that a stereotype? And we find out Cyborg's grandparents are coming, and he hates them. Tara and Changeling grow closer. She learns about his tender side, his sincere side, and they even share a kiss. I wonder when Changeling has sex. I mean, he gets in really heavy bestiality stuff, right? Like he can turn into animals, and that's what he's doing, right? I just want to know. We see Tara and Raven interact, to which, frankly, Raven says she doesn't like nor trust Tara, but she isn't sure why yet. The Titans then do some training. We see Cyborg trying to push himself to his limits. We see Wonder Girl and Starfire fighting intently, practicing, of course, to which Tara comments to herself that she sees why Slade needs her in this fight. Tara and Changeling train together, with him getting an early advantage and being incredibly annoying. Her anger overwhelms her, and she uses her power in a violent way. They manage to calm her down. She tries to lie as to why she was provoked, which is weird, and I'll get into that in a moment, but Raven sees through her lies. Later, decked out in her Jersey Mafia wife finery, Slade almost berates her for her lies. He then says her work is almost done, but then we see someone else is observing Slade, spying on him. A woman and a boy. Okay, some things to say about this. We get a lot of cheesecake in the early going with Starfire as the opening stuff surrounds her doing a sexy photo shoot. I love that we see Tara observing the Titans in all these friendly moments. And then when we get a piece of information where someone lives or an honest statement, a tender moment, we see it like a CCTV, CRT TV fuzz. Just let us know Slade is watching. Very cleverly done. I really like that. Changeling is insufferable in this issue, like to a degree that him and Tara's kiss made little sense. And later when they are sparring and he pisses her off, no wonder she flips out. He's being an absolute cock. I don't know why she bothered lying when all of them saw him be annoying. And they know how annoying he is. It's not a plot hole, but it came off as weird that she had to defend herself for no reason. Yeah, I lost my temper. He was egging me on. We see Raven and Slade losing trust in Tara. The things are coming to a head, and she seems none the wiser. Very good issue, a slice of life issue with a lot of weight behind it. Pleasantly surprised how much I enjoyed this issue. Tales of the Teen Titans, Volume 1, Issue 43. Issue revolves around Dick Grayson and what happened to the other Titans. Robin is at his apartment when Slade literally busts through the window and beats Dick up. I wrote that out and I still can't read it. I runs to the window and beats Dick up. Got it. Slade reveals he's working for Hive, more on them later, to capture the Titans. Dick manages to get away from Slade and hide in a marathon that's happening in a nearby park, who seems to have lost a step. Some internal dialogue reveals he is second-guessing himself due to the fact he's also relying on Tara, who he doesn't trust. We said the following things have happened to the Titans. Starfire, Slade put a bomb and a present from Dick for her that blew up her apartment and incapacitated her. Wonder Girl, the chemicals she used in her photo darkroom are changed and she is knocked out. Cyborg got electrocuted by a chair. Okay. Changeling got poisoned by an envelope. Did Larry David read this? Did Seinfeld rip off the Teen Titans? I need some answers for that one. I know Jerry Seinfeld is a comic book fan. I just need to know. He goes to Titan Towers and finds no Raven, he is Richard Grayson, nor Tara, and is confronted by the people who were watching Slade and have been observing him this whole time. It's a man and a woman. His name is Joseph, and the woman is Adeline. And they are Slade's ex-wife and son. And she reveals Tara had taken out Raven. Dick doesn't believe him, but is out of options. The epilogue reveals Hive, who are not very interesting and are really generic villains, they're contacted by Slade that he has the Titans. Some things about this issue. I like when Slade is chasing Robin through the streets of San Francisco and people are genuinely surprised at him because he is a giant man, just like a psychotic, wielding a sword. Though I doubt they'll get much of a reaction in San Francisco nowadays, especially if he took a shit in the streets. Robin's genuine fear about Slade, that he got them all when their guards were down, how do you know all of their secrets, etc., and the revelation of continued violence, which each of his friends is really well done. His introspection, his horror, his decision-making process is being stilted. It's all really well done. Dick's characterization is superb here. A poison envelope. I love it. For those who don't know, the show Seinfeld had this happen where the character George's fiancée, Susan, died from licking cheap, poisonous envelopes at the end of season 7. Hive stands for Hierarchy for Eternal Vengeance and Extermination, which is super generic, James Bondy, and awful. They look bad. I'm not excited about these guys at all. Overall, was an excellent issue, framed well, with Robin and Slade getting excellent character work. This one kind of blew me away, which is how well it was handled. Tales of the Teen Titans, Volume 144. This one isn't quite as interesting as the last few. It's the history of Slade Wilson. Slade was in the military. Shocker there. Adeline was his trainer for Vietnam. They become in love. He knocks her up. Then he volunteers for experimental medicine to be a better soldier, like you do. I mean, that's the pathway most people took. It has severe repercussions. He leaves the military. Adeline has a second son, Joseph, and Slade becomes a secret mercenary. Deathstroke the Terminator. What a name. Bad guys come for him, kidnap Joseph. Slade rescues him, but Joseph's vocal cords are cut. Adeline tries to kill Slade, but only manages to take his eye out. And we have the secret history of Slade's eye patch here. Then Dick needs to decide what name to choose because at the moment all his friends are kidnapped, he is stressing over a new goddamn name. For his new leisure suit costume, he decides on, obviously, Nightwing. We then see Joseph also has a horrible costume. Looks like he broke into Prince's wardrobe during a tour. And his name is Jericho. Okay. And he can go into other people's bodies and control them. That's the issue. Did we need a whole issue in this 4-issue story filling out Slade's backstory? I mean, it was well told, and I know it was presented for us to care about Joseph and Adeline, but it really wasn't anything crazy or super interesting that we've not gotten before. Though more emotional than a lot of villain backstories, it took up valuable time. We could have dealt with Dick learning to trust Joe and Adeline and with coming to grips with his new identity. I know I slightly mocked Dick's pining over his new name, but it genuinely was a good moment with him thinking about Batman, man who guided and trained him, and Superman, the man who taught him honor, selflessness, the true meaning of being a hero. It's the first appearance of Nightwing, which is important, though his costume is garbage. Not quite as bad as Jericho's costume, which is hideous, and he got body-swapping powers because Slade's DNA was altered, but Slade got, Captain America-type powers, though he uses more of his brain. Joseph's are really wildly different from anything in that capacity. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. So it was only an okay issue, but honestly a good bit of it was a waste of time. It looked beautiful and it had some emotional weight, but it felt like it served to push Jericho, who isn't a Titan that is held in any kind of high regard, to a level. So whatever. Tales of the Teen Titans Annuals, Volume 1, Issue 3. The conclusion, we move to Hive, with the Titans in some machine called the Enervator? Fine. Whatever, Enervator. What a stupid goddamn name. Nightwing and Jericho break in, and the big end battle ensues. Jericho gets into his dad's body and begins ripping Hive apart, even fighting with Tara, who doesn't understand Jericho's powers. So thinks Slade betrayed her. Tara flips out, tries to kill everyone. Meanwhile, the Titans are beat up by Slade fairly handedly. Cyborg even getting his hand cut off, which is cool, until Tara knocks him out, kills a bunch of Hive people, and accidentally kills herself by burying herself under a pile of rubble. Later, the Titans bury Tara, not telling anyone she's not a villain, that she was a hero. Okay, that's broad strokes. Let's go over some details. The machine, the Enervator, is a generic machine which feeds on their power, which all these people's powers are wildly different. Some come from genetics, some come from magic. One of them is a robot. I mean, it has the ability to siphon off all forms of energy, and it needs the Teen Titans to run it. Seems like you could throw a few toasters in there and some generic demons or something and have yourself the same sort of thing. Outside of Raven, None of the Titans are considered heavy hitters in terms of power. Wonder Girl, I guess, is strong, and Starfire has generic powers that'll be useful, but nothing compared to a high-end superhero by a long shot. Just get one of them. I don't understand. Get one Flash, you're probably good. Expanding on that, we really get no plot from Hive. They're just there to facilitate a big fight. Could have literally been anyone or no one. I don't even think any of the Hive stuff mattered. I don't even know why they want the Teen Titans. We get more of Slade's background with Adelaide and a guy named Wintergreen, who is Slade's old commander. There's genuinely some good emotional stuff. They talk about how Slade is slipping because of the Titans in Terra. Adeline talks about how, I don't think I ever loved it as much as you did, to Wintergreen. It's all reasonably mute, but well done. I like when Terra is evil. She smokes unfiltered cigarettes. That means she's evil. Slade seeing his son was a nice moment, and Jericho being useful in the final fight was good. Good introduction for him. Sad he doesn't really do much in the coming years, like the next 30. The end fight was very messy. It was all over the place and didn't really have any weight to it. It was just a generic big fight, drawn beautifully, even with the amount of brown on panels, because Terra's power is Earth, so there's a ton of brown. Looks like she's covered in shit half the time. My overview. First off, I want to address the elephant in the room regarding this story. Terra is underage in a relationship with Slade, who is clearly in his 40s here. And yes, that is gross, it is weird. But I say this, Slade is the bad guy. He is a evil person. Him grooming a young girl is totally in line with him. His relationship is that he doesn't care about her. He's using her for obsession with the Teen Titans. I put emphasis on the teen part. It's gross, but it's supposed to be. I find people giving this story grief because of that strange. If it was a good guy, yeah, okay, that would be out of line. But it's the villain. He is evil. It's an evil thing to do. Beyond that, it's a really interesting story. I praise the art to a degree that I barely have words for. George Perez is an incredible artist. Every page, panel, every bit of this was beyond beautiful. It gave so much of the story, so much texture, especially to those emotional moments, of which there are a number. That being said, the writing was also really solid. Marv is a hell of a writer and understands these characters very well. It was a short, compact, interesting, intricate story, but not without its shortcomings. While it's interesting and it's compact, there is still fluff. So much time about side plots that really never give much resolution. Chalk it up to being an episodic book that will continue to come out after this story. So those plots very well may continue on. So that's a small gripe. The excessive amount of Slade backstory we get is a little much. While I found it interesting, it took up so much time we could have set up Hive, a group that was largely useless, forgotten, and unnecessary. I have no idea who they are. The story never told me why I should care. Did it relate to Brother Blood? What was the point of it all? I would have liked for there to have been some link between the two, especially when we see Brother Blood's Lady Priestess survive the original battle. Those are my only real issues. Hive and lots of extra stuff that didn't go anywhere. Oh, and Jericho looked really stupid. His outfit was horrible, even by 80s standards. He had a good introduction, though. In fact, all the Titans acted well in character, and it was really impressive how each of them got time to shine. Overall, this was a surprisingly good story. Beautifully done, not that long. If you're a fan of the Teen Titans, this is a must. If not, I'd absolutely recommend this. I'm not a Teen Titans fan at all, and I still really enjoyed the hell out of this. Well, that was the Teen Titans, the Judas Contract. What did you think of my review? Are you a Teen Titans fan? They did this on the original Teen Titans cartoon, didn't they? Or something close to it? I don't recall. If you do, let me know down below. Send to my Patreon, let me know what you want me to review. I keep a totally open mind and want to consider just about anything. Also, follow me on Instagram for daily Twin Peaks memes. And don't forget to hit my podcast, the Dark Peaks Podcast, where me and another Instagram guy talk about stuff. Next week, I stick in the DC realm for a moment, where I look at the Flash story, The Return of Barry Allen. Well, this has been the Son of Micaiah, Master of Minds and of Men. Thank you very much, and goodbye.